How's everyone doing today, and welcome to another Mass Effect gameplay. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my opinions on the Mass Effect game and just how I've perceived it so far. I have roughly 30 hours. I can show you. Well, I can't show you guys that yet. But I will at the end of the video. I have just over 30 hours of actual gameplay, so I spent a fair amount of time with the game. Longer than what most people who were reviewing it after the free little download that they allowed people to do at the very beginning. So I feel like I have a pretty decent grip on what exactly the game is to this point, and I've run into enough of the little bugs that there are in the game to be able to give, I feel like, a pretty fair competent ruling on this game. So thanks for joining in, and as always, if you like what you hear, or at least enjoy the video, just please let me know down in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe. And I'm making this a pretty regular thing with some new games, so just trying to bring y'all what y'all want to see. So without further ado, we'll get to it. So I'm gonna go through some of the plus and minuses first off. So we'll start with the negatives. Always want to end it on a positive. So we'll start with the negatives first. One of the minor negatives, I would call it a minor thing, is the enemies spawn extremely weird sometimes. They'll just spawn floating in the air, and it's not like one enemy, it's like a group of enemies, and it just, I don't know, it kind of takes away from combat mechanics sometimes, because they don't shoot at you or anything. They just sit up there and hover. You can hit them with powers and with biotics and all that kind of stuff, and they'll fall out, and then they'll start shooting once you knock them out of the sky. But it takes you knocking them out of the sky in order for them to actually do anything. So again, not a real big deal, but just kind of can sometimes take you out of the moment and kind of be like, that's not very good. So just a small minor one there. Another thing that really irks the living crap out of me is the amount of cutscenes that take place in this game. Now I've played every Mass Effect game that there has been up until now. So 1 through 3, played all of them, loved all of them. They're all fantastic games, and cutscenes have always been something that's been memorable. These cutscenes are just annoying. Every single time you travel to a different planet, there's another cutscene. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Like, I'm all for showing the planet off and showing the world off and it being cool and all that kind of stuff, but man, oh man, I do not need a cutscene every single time that I go to fast travel to a different planet, because I'm not even really fast traveling to a different planet. I'm just going to view the planet. I don't need that cutscene. That to me is just annoying, and that might just be me. Other people might enjoy that. That's just me. Another thing is the characters. I don't know, like within 30 hours, like there's a couple of them that really stand out and are fun and all that, but I just don't remember really connecting with any of them.
Get ready to fight!
Like I have in previous Mass Effect games, and that to me is just, it's kind of disappointing. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. So, for me, that's kind of a bummer, for me personally. So, I hope that eventually that will improve and it won't be as big of an issue. But I just don't see that changing unless they do drastic gameplay changes, and I don't think that's gonna happen. So that to me is kind of one bummer for sure. And to kind of go and piggyback off of that, the writing and the script in this game is there's much to be desired. It's almost takes you out of the flow of the game sometimes. It's just so bad. It's not so bad it's good. It's so bad it's bad. So just kind of disappointed there after all the great writing and everything that's taken place in all these other games. And maybe that's at fault of me to expect this to be like the other Mass Effects, but I'm pretty sure that's why they kept the name. So they're gonna have to understand that criticism as well, and hopefully they will, you know, make improvements on that if there is another Mass Effect game, which I hope that there is. And another thing that I noticed, and I didn't notice it until I really started seeing some side-by-side comparisons of previous Mass Effect games to this Mass. So take this with a grain of salt if you don't want to ruin this for yourself. You know, cherish what you have now, kind of a thing. But character detail is atrocious compared to what it's been in past games. At least I think. I don't think the characters look nearly as detailed. You know, I mean, Shepard had his full beard. This guy has. That's just a little bit of scruff, and it's very minorly detailed. It's not as in depth. So that might just be real nitpicky of me there, but I just don't think the characters look as detailed, as great as it does. It just doesn't look like it was their character detail was a forefront of them making this game. Which for me, the story is always a huge part of it, but you got to make the characters not look all wonky and stupid as well. So there's two sides to that. The double-edged sword. Hopefully that they can make some, you know, tuning maybe. Make some gameplay improvements and, you know, possibly change that in future updates or, if nothing else, in future games. So just some things to keep an eye on there. Alright, that's enough with the negatives. Now on to the positives. What this game does great is the combat is so much fun. Probably the best combat out of any Mass Effect game. I like being able to switch on the fly. Yes, I'm not crazy about having the recharge delay. That's kind of a bummer. But overall, combat-wise, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I do miss being able to control the other characters, but at the same time, I feel like combat is more faster-paced because you're not sitting there planning out each thing. So it's a little bit more, more relying on you to make sure that you're keeping the things. Like if you need to use something on a special enemy, you know, like Incinerate or something like that that's used on armor, make sure that you're not just using it on enemies and then, oh crap, you don't have it for when you need it. So it's a little bit more in depth, which is nice. I enjoy it. I enjoy the combat. Next positive thing is the planets are actually very open and different. I know that for a lot of people that was a huge thing about Mass Effect 1 that they didn't like, was that all the planets were pretty much the same, and I agree. The planets were pretty much cookie cutter. There really wasn't much difference. There was a big old mountain in some, and you gotta climb it with a crappy-ass Mako. So, you know, for that, I agree. And that was one thing I was worried about. Oh, okay, they're making all these planets. Are they going to be exactly the same? They're not. This is the fourth planet I've been on, and all of them have been vastly different in some way, shape, or form.
This area can be mined for resources. You can extract minerals.
Eos is a desert. You know, this planet's kind of a toxic waste dump. I don't really know how else to describe this planet. Havar is, you know, very tropical, almost Avatar-like. And then you have, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the other planet's name. But it's a wintry, you know, blizzard Antarctica type of feel. So all very different, all very unique, and that's, you know, that's 9 planets so far, or 4 planets so far. So, you know, that's good. I'm glad that there's some uniqueness to that game. Yes, I realize I'm just rolling around in circles right now, I'm trying to figure out where the heck the rest of this mining zone is. But anyway, moving on. And it's gonna sound weird, but the characters are different. And that is a positive to me. Yes, I miss the Garruses and the Liaras and all that of Time of Old and the Shepherds and all that fun stuff. But I do like the differences because there are still similarities in them, even though they are different. I think that's going to be a hard thing to really truly describe unless you play it. But I do like where the characters are different. I just wish that there was more meat in the characters, I guess you could say. I wish there was more work put into them to make them more unique, but I do like that they are unique. So that one's, I know, kind of a weird thing to describe, but it is a positive. I do like the uniqueness of the characters that are in this game. Another positive thing for me is the interaction between the characters when you're not in mission, and of course, they're not going to do it
This area can be
when
mined for resources.
I'm here, but
You can extract
or
minerals
doing this
by
video. But
mining.
normally they'll interact with each other, and they'll be pretty funny and pretty comical, and you can actually learn some things about the characters themselves, and discover something about their past and everything. And it actually does tie into what you discuss with them on your ship in between missions and after missions and stuff like that. So it is pretty cool, and each character is different in that way. Cora is much more of a straight shooter, not really, one to sit here and talk, while PB is, life of the party. So very different, very unique, in a very good way. But yeah, that's really it for my review. If I had to give a rating for this game, I would say between a 7 and an 8 out of 10. Just depends on your preferences, really. I could justify either. For me, it's an 8 out of 10. I might be a homer for this, but I love the Mass Effect series. So I love this game, but I also can see the faults in it and see where some people might think it's a 7 out of 10 as well. I don't think it's any lower, only because I think with the mass of things to do in this game that there is, I just don't think that, it's like Skyrim. Not every game is going to be perfect. When there's this much to do or this big, this big of a world to make or worlds to make. So I think for as big as it is, yes, it could be better, but it's not terrible. It's not broken like people are claiming. The facial animations don't completely ruin the experience. I mean, yeah, they're kind of wonky from time to time, but honestly, I haven't really noticed them too much. It's why I didn't list them as a positive or negative. They're not the greatest, but I don't think that they're as game-breaking as people are claiming them to be. I hope that they improve, but past that, I'm not. I play Mass Effect for the story. I don't play Mass Effect to pay attention to what the characters' faces are doing at every waking moment. But that's just me. Some people, that's all that they care about. And that's all well and fine. If you're one of those people, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's not. I didn't buy the game to look at the facial animations. I bought the game for the story. So, and that's why I play games, is for the story, not what the characters look like. And that's just my preference. So yeah, 7, 8 out of 10, depending on what you're doing. If you've never played a Mass Effect series, I highly recommend it still. And I also highly recommend that you go back to the previous games and play those as well. They're not required by any stretch of the imagination to play this game, but I just think that it's an overall very fun series, and I think if you play those other games, you'll get a lot more out of this game in terms of just overall experience. Like I said, it's definitely not necessary, but it is. They are great games. So. But yeah, that's it for my review on Mass Effect Andromeda. If you guys have any comments, please feel free to share them down with me down in the comment section below. And feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. I hope to be doing more guides and daily uploads on not only Mass Effect, but any other game as well. I have over 100 games, so I have lots of games to review and do guides for. So if that's something that you're enjoying, it's something that you're liking seeing, definitely hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. Let me know that you enjoyed the video. And as always, until next time, see you.